Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's tutorial is going to be focused on a channel banner. Now this specific design offers some degrees of customization, and there's really two different styles of this banner that I'll be showing you how to make. And go ahead and show you those two styles. So we have this first one here where everything is completely red on this right side, but now if we open all of this up, we can see this is labeled with a 1, and this is also labeled with a 1. So if we hide this and we hide that, then I believe there's something here we need to re-show. Yep, and then if we show this and then we go over to the text, hide the 1 and open up the 2, we now have the second style. And these are all going to be numbered in the template as I just showed you. 1 will be the first style and 2 will be the second style. So without further delay, let's jump right into the tutorial. I'm going to start off by going to File, New, and the sizing we want for this initial canvas is going to be 1200 by 530. And yes, this is much larger than we're actually going to use, and the reason I do so is just so we have extra space around the banner if we need to use it. So let's return to this, and let's create a new layer, delete the background by clicking delete on your keyboard. Now we're going to come over to the rounded rectangle tool, and we're just going to drop this down. Adjustments will be made in just a moment. Now if you don't see the properties tag, go over to window, go down to properties, click it, and it will pop up right around here. Now you can leave it there if you want, but I highly recommend that you take it, drag it to the side, and dock it there. Now continuing forward, we're going to change the width of this to 910, and the height will be at 235, and the corners we want at 34 pixels. Now you're going to notice that this base layer isn't as long as the other one is, and I'll show you in just a moment as to why that is. Now the base, we're going to keep it at the color it's currently at, which is 31, 31, 31, and just a nice shade of gray that fits really well for this banner. Now we're going to take this and do Ctrl J. We'll call this the backup just in case we need it. Then we'll do Ctrl G, we can call this the backups. Just easy access for all of our backups that we may want. Right click on the eyeball, let's make this gray to keep ourselves organized, and go ahead and hide that. I'm going to take this layer, do Ctrl G, and we'll name this the base. Now this layer, we're going to right click and rasterize layer style. And this base layer, we can go ahead and make that red. And I just realized I made a mistake. We need to actually make this a red color. And this would just be the red that we're using before. The gray will come later. We're going to duplicate what we edit here and take it to the center and adjust it there. So this is the red we want to use, FC4A5A. My bad, my mistake. I last made this tutorial a few days ago. I just haven't had a chance to record since then, so I kind of forgot how I made it earlier. I'll get it eventually. Just bear with me. Alright, so we went ahead and applied that blending option. Now we can right click and rasterize layer style. Now the tool that we're going to be using to cut these corners is called the pen tool, and you can find the pen tool on the left side, and you go all the way to the bottom. It's near the bottom, and you can pop up more options by holding down the left mouse button, but you really don't need to because the pen tool is a default, well, the default for this one, unlike some of these other ones, for example gradient, paint bucket. You have to swap around there. Now to pick out the spot we want to use, it's about a quarter of the way up, not half, not a third, about a quarter, and that'll give us a nice cut across. So we can click here, right about there, and then hold shift and click across. As you can see, we have a perfect 45 degree. It's going to be the same for everybody. If you hold shift when you click with the pen tool, it's always going to make this 45 degree line. So click there and come all the way around there, make selection, okay, and then delete. Now deselect, and we have our first corner done. Now to actually get this to the right side, we can do it again, but if we want to make sure everything is spot on, we go to this right side, delete that right there, return to the left side. Let's take about that chunk, do Control J, Control T, go to the width, add a negative, go to the heights, add a negative, click the check mark, and then just drag that right over there. And that is basically it. Now you can, of course, play around with the cut, go a bit higher. I don't think that was exactly a quarter, I might have been a bit less. Maybe go a bit higher with yours to about there, and just really play around with it, see what works best for you. But this is fine for the time being. Now we can call this the frame, right click, blending options, go over to stroke, and we want a 9 pixel stroke in white. Did I put 0? I put 0. There we go, 9 pixels for our stroke. Now we can collapse that. Now return to the backup, take this, do Control J, drag that in, and this one, 31, 31, 31 being the color, is the one we're going to have on the center. Now the way we're going to arrange this is so there's about a 10 pixel red gap between this white edge and the gray itself. I forgot how to speak today. Anyway, Control T, let's go down to the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Though of course the quick way to do it would be to make a ruler for yourself. A ruler being, go to the rectangle tool, make a shape 10 pixels tall, and just stick it around. Might be a quicker way to do it. Try to recount just in case. Might be a quick way to do it, but I'm still using my old, mundane, inaccurate, or accurate, but painful methods. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, check mark. And by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, I'm using Alt and scrolling to go in and out, though of course you can also click this in the corner, I think. Yeah, if you go to this corner right down here, I think you can type in different numbers for the zoom, but that's a pain in the butt, you don't want to do that. There's also a magnifying tool here, I think. Yeah, that's also a pain. I recommend using my shortcut, just Alt and then scrolling, much faster. Okay, now we're going to return to this, Control T, and we want 10 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. One more side, if it'll let me zoom in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. And that is exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and make sure this is red. Right click, rasterize layer style. And this will be the center. Now, these edges, you can probably make it perfect if you try. Mine isn't going to be perfect, but I'll certainly give it a shot. So I'll click here, and then I'll click right there. Let's see how that looks out. And I'm once again using the pen tool for those who didn't notice. Right click, make selection, okay, delete. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Let's go back, try one more time. Let's try here, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, just to make sure we're the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hopefully, it looks like it might be the case, as it'll work. Yeah, that's not too shabby. So I'm gonna do 5 from the whites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click there. I actually don't need to count there because it's automatically going to do it for me. There we go, make selection, okay, and delete. And we have those corners done. Now we have our red, our white, and our gray. The next step is going to involve one of my absolute favorite tools, which is the gradient tool. This one can make some really awesome effects if you use it properly. I'll show you how we're going to be using it here. So take this magnolia leaf pattern, which is going to be included in the download, drag that over, drop it down, do Control T, and then make it smaller. That should be good, maybe a tad less, perfect. Now right click, blending options, color overlay, and make sure this is red. The same red in fact that we used for the little trim here. So FC4, A5A, click OK, OK one more time, right click, rasterize layer style. Let's do Ctrl G, you see why in just a moment. Ctrl J, Ctrl T, go to the width, add a negative, click the check mark, drag that over. Ctrl J, Ctrl T, go to the width, add a negative, and then drag that over when holding shift so it stays on the x-axis. And that is perfect there. Yep, that's fine. Now we're going to go to the group, right click, and merge group. Save us a bit of time there. And this will be called the pattern. Now we'll clip this pattern to the center. We'll give it the color dodge effect. Where is it at? There we go. Now we're going to add this right here. Then we're going to go over, which is a mask. I keep forgetting all of the terms, proper terms for each of these tools. Anyway, we're going to go over to the gradient tool, and the way we're going to come at this is we're going to come from the top. So hold shift and then just drag down to about there. As you can see here, it's applying the black. So everything in the white is completely visible, everything black, not visible. So if we gradient, where there's going to be some shades of gray, that gray space is naturally going to be a space with lowered opacity. So you can think of this as a staggered opacity, with the most visible being at the bottom and the least visible at the top. So I'm probably going to come down to about, let's see, what would be a good spot? Nope, that's too much. That's too little. You know, honestly, the way I have it right there should be fine. Because I want it to be visible at the top still, but not too much. Cool. So then we can drop the opacity on this to 45%. And that should be perfect for that. Alright, with that step out the way, I'm going to continue forward and show you how to do the red side over here. And once you have the red side down, it's super simple to get the non-red stuff out the way as well. So first, I'm going to take this Discord logo, and of course you can use whatever suits your banner the best. Right click, blending options, go over to color overlay, and this will be red. Right click, rasterize layer style, icon, drag this out of the base, and we'll do Ctrl G and call this the icon, just so it's easy. Actually, you know what? We don't even need that. We want it to be easily hot swappable in the future, and the easiest way to do so is just having it as its own separate layer. So icon, and then we can scale this down and drop it right around here. That should work. Now, we're going to create a new layer, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to essentially mimic what we did here, but on this side with red. So I'm going to click right around there, click right at the center. Oops. No, it's going to be easier if I make a line going across, just so I can make sure. There's actually a ruler tool up here as well. Where is it? Window, layers. There's a line thing here I can do. A grid, some sort. I don't use it often. I probably should. I'm sure somebody who is more experienced with Photoshop is watching this tutorial and is in pain as they see my very unorthodox methods, but you know, my tutorial, you're stuck with my methods, unfortunately. So I'm going to click down here, click up to there. It's a bit too far, but never fear, we can adjust that. And then I'm just going to click up. Now I'm going to come across, I'm going to click, let's say, oh, how much do we have there? We have 10. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Click here. I shall click down and then around. There we go. Right click, make selection, okay. Shift F5. Color is going to be just that same reddish color. Now, we can also make a copy of this once we're finished with it, and we can save it, as this will be our little divider for that other part. Let me go ahead and actually drag this over. It's too far to the right. Perfect. But we're going to have to edit this bottom section just a tad, because it's way too thin right now. So to do that, I think what we can do is we can take this, go down a bit farther, just like there, and then we'll come down right there. If we go back up, right click, make selection, okay, shift F5, color. Is that too thick now? That is a chunky line. That is too chunky for our needs. Let's go back a bit. Maybe there. Please don't be too chunky. And then shift F5. No. Maybe? It's just so dirty though. Do you see that? Am I the only one noticing that? I think you can see it as well. It just... Why is it so dirty? I can't believe that just going across would mess it up that much. Alright, well, it should be fine. You don't really notice it from a distance, which is how most people would see it. It is kind of bothering me though up close. Okay, our little secret, nobody will ever notice. Just don't tell anybody. They'll never know. Alright, this is going to be our line. Now, we're going to go over to our backup, do Control J, drag it, bring this in. Last time I did it, I definitely did it this way. I think it was my second try I got it perfect. I'm not sure why I'm struggling so much this time around. So, let's just take the tried and true method of this. I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of a clicky there, a little bit of all the way around, then right click, make selection, shift F5, fill all of that. And now that I've overfilled, I'm going to click this, right click, and then select inverse. Where is that? Select inverse, and then Control J. Now if we delete this and that, voila, just like magic. My tutorials are definitely not as straightforward as other ones, but I don't think many channels do it quite like this way. I've seen a lot of speed edits, a lot of channels that simply just upload it and have a little montage, not even a montage, it's just them opening up the file, it's a minute long, and have it for download. So you have to bear with me. I remember I saw a comment a while back and said, wow, this guy is really bold for making the design right in the spot. And yeah, it is quite the experience. I think I mentioned before, but whenever I actually make something for the first time, I did not make everything in one go like this. It seems like I know what I'm doing really well, but trust me, it takes a lot of time and effort, especially depending on design. Probably 90% of the time in making a banner, or really a new design, is spent me just sitting there thinking, what should I be doing? What would look good? This looks bad, let me delete that. And then just hating life as a designer, because sometimes it is just pain. Okay, this we can increase the size a tad. Let's drag that in, drag it around, not drag that in. Use your arrow keys while on the move tool to make fine adjustments. And this is actually good to go to be saved. Let's go ahead and merge that down. So let's duplicate that. This will be called, let's make this 2. I think this is 2 that we used it with, 2 line. Let's hide that. And then this one is going to be rather simple. We click here, click there, shift, click down. I'm just holding shift this entire time. And click all the way around. Click up, 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 right click, make selection, okay, shift F5, color, and that's all red. Now if we hide that and we hide this, or make that visible, you can see the difference between the two quite clearly. Okay, so next step, let's go ahead and call this, we'll Control G and we'll call this the right. And the right actually gets moved in with the base, and this actually gets a 1 in front of it as well. Now we're going to take this Discord logo, drag it in, because we'll be reusing it again. Now right click, blending options, color overlay, let's make this pure black. Then right click, rasterize layer style, opacity at about 13%, then Control T, and then adjust it right around there, just like that. Now we're going to be doing, it's not on the right, is it? Nope, we want it in the right. Drop that down. Let's call this the right base. Now we're going to be adding a mask to this again. Go back to our gradient tool. I want to come from the side this time, hold shift, and at a 45-degree angle, do one of those bad boys. Just drag it right up there. Perfect. Or is it? Let me compare and contrast. No, not quite perfect. I lied. We want this left eye to be basically invisible. That's better. That's what we want. There we go. Yep. And we can leave it right there. Now we can hide that, hide the backup, create a new layer. Let's call this, what is this section? Miscellaneous stuff. No. We'll call this 1. Control G. This is miscellaneous stuff. Now in the miscellaneous stuff section, we'll be making little shapes, but let's get the text out the way first. Green, new layer, Control G. Let's call this the text. Let's make that blue. Now the text color, of course, is going to be 31, 31, 31. And the font we're going to be using is called Bubble Boy 2. Not Bubble Boy 1, but Bubble Boy 2. Okay, I still cannot speak English properly. Alright, 31, 31, 31. Click OK, click the check mark. Just drag that over. It's too big, so let's drag that down. And I'm using Discord, of course, because I put the Discord logo there. If it's for you, if it's a rules channel, you would have an icon that's to rules, and you put rules there, but you get the point. So that is about what I want, I think. Yep. Now we're going to come back to the miscellaneous stuff, and we can always adjust this in the future if it's not living up to our expectations. Go to the rectangle tool. Let's go ahead and make a shape about that large. Yeah, that's not too big. Control J. Let's drag it across. Control J. Drag it across one more time. I have a couple dots there. Control G. Let's call this the dots. Create a new layer. Let's go back to this. Let's make a very long line over here. Yay high, yay wide, and yay position. And it should probably line up with the tops of that. Let's adjust that as well. And then we'll put a little, let's call this line. Create a new layer. We'll put a little circle over in this corner. A little bit of a circle there, and then we'll go over to the triangle tool. Circle. And then the triangles, we'll put one like that, maybe too wide. One like that over here. I'm totally not cheating and looking at my past examples. I promise. All from memory. 100%. I'll put one there, Control J, Control T, rotate it around. Oh, what is that funky rotation? There we go. And we'll put our last one right up top. Okie dokie. Let's actually recenter that. Alright, that is the first style out of the... well, no, not quite. Our last little edit for this would be for the icon. I almost forgot about that. Right click, blending options, go over to drop shadow. We want this at 65, and 0, 0, and 13. Okay, now this one is out of the way. So we can call this one text. You Control J, hide the one text. Let's call this the two text. Now this two line, we can go ahead and drag that into the base, I suppose. We can hide the one stuff and then show the two stuff. Let's recollapse that, and then we're gonna go back to this text. Oh, hide the miscellaneous stuff as well. Now we're gonna click on this text, and this is gonna be pure white. Click OK, click OK. Now we're gonna right click, go to blending options, inner shadow, those are numbers and the settings that we want. Gradient overlay, those are the numbers and the settings that we want. And then finally, we'll come over to outer glow and then drop shadow. Click OK on all of that. At this point, you're probably thinking, hey, nothing changed. It's still all white. What did you do there? Well, not quite done. Click on this and go over to soft light. And just like magic, our final style appears. So collapse this, collapse that, and oh my goodness, I'm at 30 minutes. Probably going to be like 25 minutes for you when you see it. So much editing. This is going to be fun. Okay, this out the way, let me show you how to save. Rectangular marquee tool, highlight over all of this, edit, copy merged, file, new, create, Control V, delete the backgrounds, file, export, save for web. This is your first option. This just compresses it down, makes it easy to upload, small file size. Second option, file, save as, PNG, really simple and quick. And honestly, this tutorial could probably be done in 10 minutes in your own time, maybe less once you've made it once or twice. It takes forever to explain everything. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have another 2 videos linked at the ends, one the recent upload of course, and one to a tutorial I think you would enjoy. Other than that, I hope you have an awesome day.